will try to view this through their own prism and try to articulate their perspective on it. And it really is a pleasure that William is going to try and sort of articulate. I'll just say a few words. I'm going to have to embarrass you.
Of course,
first.
you know who I am.
It's not right.
They all know me as William at Hillingdon.
Yeah, okay, William, right? I mean, William is a professor of contemporary philosophy and literature. He is currently our head of English and creative writing. William's research is well established and really wide-ranging. He began his career working on contemporary poetics and literary theory. He has since morphed and changed, and he has emphasized in all sorts of interesting areas of research. But I think his latest one is in contemporary continental philosophy. But also he's extended himself even further lately to political issues around the topic of violence and biopolitics. And this has led to numerous pieces, if you Google William, numerous journalist pieces on issues of, this is the interesting bit, on capital punishment, surveillance, terrorism, war, and technology. So I think he's really wonderfully placed to sort of attack this. But also, just to add a little bit more, in 2017, he began an experimental project called B-Blot Lab, funded by the Teach Brunel Fund, to develop students' digital literacy, which is critical. We'll discuss that later on, but I think it's absolutely critical to develop those skills. And as a result, the students have created a new magazine called heymillennium.co.uk, and it's launched, I think it was this week.
Last week. Hey Millennials, but it'll come up. Will it come up?
I mean, I've actually looked at it, and I'll tweet it later, the actual link. Okay. And it's got a beautiful it's got a very good article on bullshit. And I think everyone should read, and it's not by you. So I think everyone should read it. It's very good. So, William, over to you.
Obviously, I've been metamorphosed and extended. Feel quite physically tired. It sounds horrendous that I'm going to talk to you when it gives you my CV knowledge because I've written something. So part of me is enjoying the discomfort you think of what this idiot is going to talk to us about biopolitics and bullshit. Thank you. It'll be more fun than that. Thank you for asking me to talk about bullshit rather than talking bullshit, which is what my friends and neighbours generally think is my job. I won't tell you what my current builders think my job is, but they are deeply confused that I want to be paid to do what I do, which is basically bullshit. And I've written a little piece. It'll also, if by the magic, well, it was supposed to appear up there as well. It's part of the heymillennials.co.uk blog project that was set up. And I like to think of it as like a little bit of a pitch for a book that will never be written, because I was supposed to write a book on fake news, and the week that someone said, there's a book in that, the week after, 3 bullshit books came out, which were actually not all bullshit, really pissing me off. So I think this is a book proposal for a book that I'll never write. A book called Bullshit. A man went looking for truth, and what he found stank. Post-truth, post-fact, fake news, bullshit. These are all words trying to capture our new relationship to an ancient art of lying. Now, it's been widely assumed that a year of digitised bullshit spreading has resulted in a dramatic shift in the political landscape from evidence-based governance spanning the centre ground to personality-driven demagogues occupying the extremes through a blatant disregard for evidence and facts. Bullshit has even been seen by some at the root of certain shocking electoral results, for example, Brexit and Trump. But what is bullshit? Thank you, Akram, for already answering that. Come with me now on my year-long journey through bullshit and find out. Now, my agent always tells me start with a story, something personal and humanising. People like that, he says. That's why they don't like you yet. Thanks. So here goes. As the snow fell softly beyond my study window, I drew a weary line under a shitty year, 2016, by composing a fun think piece for the big issue on post-truth. Post-truth had been chosen by Tweedy Boffins at the OED, if you remember, as their word of the year. I made a distinction between facts which are verifiable and truths which can't be proven by facts alone. I signed off by declaring truth, as it transpires, is nothing more than a selfie of our own prejudices. Very tweetable. But before the piece even appeared, the ground had already shifted beneath my feet, After Trump's shock election, we Liberals jumped post-truth because we were all in a tizzy about fake news, specifically how Brexiteers Trump and the alt-right used fake news stories online to skew the political conversation and achieve otherwise impossible electoral results. I changed tack, term and media, making a podcast, my first, explaining that the problem was not so much fake news stories as how Trump used Twitter to fake the news agenda. Trump would tweet a fake news story, his followers would retweet that story, his opponents would troll tweet that story. The traffic it generated online spiked interest in the MSM, mainstream media, and they would, incredulous, run the story, not appreciating that each time they did that, they gave Trump more oxygen. Result, a monster was born, then elected. So not fake news, but faking the news. Why is this distinction important? Well, for the simple reason that fake news per se is not actually particularly significant politically. While fake news websites have made money for the people of Macedonia, the main source of fake news for the record, teenagers of Macedonia, they did not noticeably alter the results of Brexit or the American election according to studies. While some fake news stories were widely shared, the largest majority of all news shared online still remains sourced from mainstream media. So it's not the individual turds of bullshit that should concern us, therefore, but how all this BS is faking the very idea of fact-based news reporting. 'Twas a humble pod that I did cast, but something about it captured the mood because suddenly I was conducting an interview on Sky News. Trying to be hip, yet wise, I mentioned how until Trump, politics had been dominated by pollsters and spin doctors. From now on, I predicted, it will be in the hands of trollsters and meme weavers. See what I did there? No, he didn't see it either. Although the haircut interviewing me didn't seem wholly convinced, I was vindicated once Trump took hold of office and the new age of meme politics began, meaning suddenly memes mattered more than facts or truths. One of the issues around the spread of fake news is that the majority of news material shared online is never read beyond the headline. People are not responding to the bullshit they read, but still share those bullshit headlines all the same. When they do this, they transform the piece from an article to a meme. Something striking that is shareable online will get a response and takes a mere second or so to read, and that's perhaps overstating what people do with them, but anyway, read and get. It would seem that you slacktivists, you keyboard warriors out there, are not changing your vote based on crazy stories made up by Macedonian teenagers at all, because you're not reading those stories, hooray! You're not reading them, but you still share them, boo! What are you guys up to? Whatever it was, I'm happy to say, my ex-agent was wrong. People don't like stories anymore because they don't read them. The assumed passive readers of yesterday have been replaced by the active, participating, if frankly unwitting and incompetent publishers of tomorrow. That's you, also me. There are 1.2 billion of you on Facebook alone. You are each your own publisher, editor and self-publicist. This is an unprecedented event in the history of culture. I can see that, like every publisher I've ever met, you are in it part for the art, but mostly for the bottom line. But what is it you get from being an online publisher of fake news, grumpy cats, memes, and all that other shit you keep shoveling around your feeds? Well, there is pleasure in expressing an idea and being heard. As you can see, it's good to show allegiance, join a community, feel valued. Sometimes you're so pissed off, you just want to share to let off steam. That's fine. When this is shared by others, you get a little hit of dopamine, the love hormone. Some of you make a bit of cash, and then of course there's the attraction of sharing bullshit memes to change the fate of your country, or indeed the world. Now I know why you share without reading, making news into memes, because, and here is the twist in the tale of this great story, I do it too. Now in the end, fake news is just, for me, collateral damage. I see it as a sideshow to the cultural car crash of mass, participatory online publishing that we call social media. Now we all need something to share because we're net curators at the moment, we're not net creators. And we do this to get whatever it is we're after online. News is a good thing to share, as are cat memes and pictures of your kids. Our problem is not that we're stupid or ill-informed, but that we're caught up in a global case of over-sharing. Fake news is only one outcome of this, and perhaps a passing one. But oversharing is not a victimless crime. The process of converting news into memes that we are complicit in is being weaponised politically with real-world effects. Brexit being John to the baptism of Trump. Every story needs a great ending, and mine is a humdinger. I wrote about it for The Week, just before I gave up my journalism career and took the first boat back home across the bullshit canal. In Trump's tweet happy hands, fake news the phenomenon became fake news, the accusation. It stopped being about liberals calling politicians on the lies they told, and instead became a war between two contesting views on facts, provable facts and alternative facts. And so it was that the very fact of fake news itself became faked, allowing Trump to take hold of the fake news story and turn it into hashtag fake news, a meme, a weapon with which to troll the very mainstream media sources that had accused him of fake newsery in the first place back in 2016. Fake news itself, reducing fact-based media outrage into meme-worthy, outright troll bait, has pushed us all, ill-equipped, very much up bullshit creek. And although Trump's hands are famously small, so far he has proven himself to be the best paddler on board. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So that was excellent. So you did write, so that was your piece on
Yes, I did write it.
So he did write it. I take it back that he didn't.
Another piece of fake news.
Yeah, we did. I did check the name, but it didn't.
Oh, well, thank you for proving my thesis.
That's right.
And you were a professor, and me too.
There you go. I mean, I've got a quick question before we move on. So what's the difference between, I mean, what is a provable fact and an alternative fact? I mean, isn't all fact encapsulated in some framework? I mean, it is just a representation. So what is an objective fact relative to a fact?
If we think about Kellyanne Conway,
yes,
alternative facts, which they asked me about on Sky News, my only ever media appearance, which didn't go particularly well, so they didn't call me back. About that, I mean, facts can be created, first of all. If you're a president, you can create a whole boatload of terrible facts. So there are, so you can make facts through power. And through power, you can also manipulate the arena of facts and make your contestable facts become a lot less contestable. I think it's naive to think, although
what would be a fact? So give me an example of where you would create an objective fact. I mean, I say the mass of a particular particle is 1 GeV.
Yes.
Absolutely, you can objectively.
Yes.
So where can you create?
Well, you're aware that most facts are not like that.
I know.
In the world, so there's probably 99.9% of all other facts are not generated like that, but are generated by communities of people. I think we had this conversation on Monday. So the difference between a fact and a truth philosophically is that facts can be provable, but the basis on which you're saying that's a fact, so in your case physics and the laws of physics, are not by themselves provable by other facts. They're like fundamental laws. So in philosophy at least, I know physicists don't always agree with this, in philosophy at least, there has to be a set of rules. So for example, logic might be one. And logic means that, okay, you're going to make a bunch of statements as a philosopher, but if they break the rules of logic, they're not facts. But as was proven by Gödel twice, I believe, in the 20th century, the very basis of logic cannot be factually proven. It has to be some way, shape or form accepted by the group of people doing that.
So I mean, logic, I agree, it's reason. There's reason, but aren't the basic entities facts? And then you use reason to make some sort of a statement. But the basic facts are facts.
Well, what are you saying?
There are some axioms you start from.
Yes, but what are you saying the basic facts are facts? Or how are you going to establish that those are the basic facts which are facts, and these are the basic facts which are not facts? Especially if they're incontestable grounds, which is what politics is. And so at that point, you can manipulate what people appreciate to be facts, as most people are not physics and philosophy professors, and they have a different purchase on facts, perhaps, than we do. I think that's a less good one. And some of the establishment of that facts might be gained from reading about stuff in the media. And therefore, that's how facts get established. And in that process, then if you start to bring in situations where the status of that media can be modified, then yes, you can begin to modify the environment by which people take their factual information. And most people will not take their factual information by reading primary sources. I know a lot about, I'm interested in evolution, but I don't read papers on evolution, even I don't. So at that point, yes, those facts can be contested and easily manipulated by one simple word, power. Power makes alternative facts. Power does. They may not last forever, but power can make alternative facts, in my opinion. And I believe in facts, but they can be. Or power changes what the word facts means, is probably more. Does that make sense?
We'll have to